The topic of today's discussion, the timeless appeal of Dr. Ambedkar's vision within the United Nations and beyond, is very apt as we celebrate this year 80 years of the establishment of the United Nations. Dr. Ambedkar was one of the most well-read Indians of his time, with a personal library of over 50,000 books. He had unique academic credentials among Indian leaders. He infused a pragmatic and rational approach to policy making and political activism. And he espoused modernization, industrialization and urbanization. Honorable Minister of State for Social Justice and Empowerment, Sri Ramdas Athavale, Dr. Santosh Raut, Visiting Professor of the Harvard Divinity School, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the commemorative event to mark the 131st birth anniversary of Dr. BR Ambedkar. Dr. Ambedkar was a leading figure of India's freedom struggle and architect of India's constitution, an eminent jurist, economist, and one who dedicated his life for laying the foundation of our modern republic. The topic of today's discussion, the timeless appeal of Dr. Ambedkar's vision within the United Nations and beyond, is very apt as we celebrate this year 80 years of the establishment of the United Nations. Dr. Ambedkar was one of the most well-read Indians of his time, with a personal library of over 50,000 books. He had unique academic credentials among Indian leaders of having pursued much of his Western education in the United States at Columbia University, in addition to British-based institutions that were common among his contemporaries, such as the London School of Economics. He infused a pragmatic and rational approach to policy making and political activism, and he espoused modernization, industrialization and urbanization, with a specific focus on pursuit of progress and happiness for all. Above all, he brought his keen intellect and intelligence to bear on the multifaceted political struggle to achieve India's independence. Today, I would like to discuss a few core aspects of his political philosophy that have a timeless appeal within the United Nations and beyond. Dr. Ambedkar was unique among the jurists and political leaders of his time to have devoted his attention to mainstreaming fraternity as a core principle of nation building and ordering the relations not only between citizens but also between nations. In his view, fraternity was another name for democracy. It was primarily a mode of associated living and of communicated experience. He said that it was essentially an attitude of respect and reverence among fellow men. He explained that this was a sense of common brotherhood of all Indians, of Indians being one people. He said it is a principle which gave unity and solidarity to social life. In the preamble to the Indian Constitution, Dr. Ambedkar committed Indians to promote fraternity among all citizens, with a specific focus on assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity of the nation. He looked for sources within Indian civilizational inheritance for his focus on fraternity, and found that which sustains equality and liberty is this fellow feeling, which he said the French revolutionists called as fraternity. Yet he felt that fraternity was not an adequate expression to express the fellow feeling, and felt that the Sanskrit term Maitri better encapsulates the fellow feeling which sustains equality and liberty, which he opines is therefore the root of democracy. The concept of human fraternity that Dr. Ambedkar espoused is strongly connected to the core principles and purposes of the United Nations Charter. The UN Charter emphasizes international cooperation, the promotion of respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms, and the development of friendly relations among nations, all of which align with the values of human fraternity. In fact, the United Nations General Assembly has on 21st of December 2020 adopted Resolution 75/200, declaring the 4th of February as the International Day of Human Fraternity. It is an acknowledgement that tolerance, pluralistic tradition, mutual respect, and the diversity of religions and beliefs promote human fraternity. Second, the second aspect of his approach that was very influential and unique was exploring what type of morality should guide the programs and policies of the new republic. Dr. Ambedkar prioritized constitutional morality over other forms of traditional, societal, or religious frameworks of morality. He opined that constitutional morality is not a natural sentiment, and it has to be cultivated. He believed that the founding ideals of the Indian Constitution of liberty, equality, and fraternity should be harnessed for achieving a just society and state, and should guide the governance and future march of the young republic. Some of the path-breaking initiatives in the Indian Constitution flowed from this conception of constitutional morality, and indeed were far ahead of the democracies in the West. The first of this is gender equality and granting women the right to vote alongside men. He drafted the Hindu Code Bill to secure women's equal inheritance rights, the right to divorce, and other legal protections. He believed that without women's education and granting them equal rights, progress and development were not possible. The UN Charter too reflects a moral commitment to certain fundamental principles for achieving the founding vision of a just and equitable international order, distinct from earlier frameworks of morality among nations that guided their relations, like sovereign equality, prohibition on the use of force, peaceful settlement of disputes, international cooperation, and respect for human rights, fundamental freedoms, and the rule of law are considered essential for a just, equitable, and peaceful world. Finally, I would like to note that Dr. Ambedkar looked at democracy as a way of life, and whose institutional mechanisms and pillars were not an end in themselves, but the means to bring into play the constitutional morality of the Indian Constitution, to ensure that all citizens enjoyed equality and were able to fully utilize their capacities, resulting in a nation with citizens and communities demonstrating shared interests and mutual respect and informed by fraternity. Indeed, at a global level, this is the same vision that animates the multilateral system represented by the United Nations. How to ensure that the framework of morality of the UN Charter guides the international order and interaction between peoples and nations, so that we have justice and equality, with no nation left behind. As Dr. Ambedkar notes, prioritizing such a framework of morality is not a natural sentiment, but it has to be cultivated. The world cannot afford an unjust and inequitable international order with only the topsoil representing the elements of the UN Charter. As we mark UN at 80 this year, reforming the United Nations cannot be postponed any further, and making it fit for purpose is the need of the hour. We cannot have the morality of 1945 guiding the conduct between nations and peoples in 2025. I look forward to interesting discussion today and thank all of you. Thank you.